This part of the Star Cruiser commentary is brought to you by Banga. From senior high school basketball highlights to music videos and dance routines, Mangala of Royameadow Neo Generation 1 has got something to satisfy all ends of the urban demographic. Check out what's showcasing from him and his crew on his social media handles at banga.official. Welcome to part 3 of the Star Cruiser commentary. We have finally made it to Sirius. And we are on planet Atlantis, where we finally revisit with David Geed. So David Geed's been working with the feds now. It's actually not a bad task. But of course, things can be getting a bit it's gonna be much more careful from here on out. So one of the first things that we'll have to do here, obviously, is, refill our tank, refill our weapon if we haven't. And we won't be hightailing it to certain planets yet. The plan is we're gonna be going to Dry Canyon. And ultimately, the reason why we have to head to Dry Canyon is for the sole purpose of upgrading the hull. The ship has to get completely modified to handle Sirius, just because of how spacious this particular star system is. Unlike the solar system in Rigel Kent, where everything seems to be, decently available within like 30 to 60 seconds, at least, or even a few minutes at worst, if you are using the quantum engine or the proton engine. Sirius is extremely bad with this. So as a result, you do need that proton engine in order to really get to areas at a fast pace. And even at that, I still have to constantly revisit certain planets. So you'll see me constantly go over to in areas such as, such as Hollywood, just to make sure that I have what I need. So I already have Analyzer 1. Now we have Analyzer 2. This means that we can now read Tier 2 grade cards. But that won't be for a while. Either way, we are about to go out into Sirius, and we have debatably what is my favorite track in the game now. This track. When I first listened to this, I almost went into tears. That rarely ever happens with music. This one got me, though. This one, there's something about it that just feels so different than any other track I've ever listened to. At least from the 80s gaming era. Specifically the Sharp X68000 version of this track, it has a sense of beauty to it that you don't hear often from other chips, which really made me feel bad when Star Cruiser MD got its translation, because here I am going to Sirius, and I'm like, why am I only hearing the regular solar system theme? Then I'm taking a look through the soundtracks and I find out, oh, that's why. Star Cruiser MD, if my memory serves correctly, only has about 20 tracks, maybe a little more. While the original Star Cruiser, I think, had closer to 30 or maybe even 40 tracks. Altogether, though, when you combine all the soundtracks, it's something well over 200. Well over 2,500. I think roughly about 240, 250. And here are those brown asteroids I was talking about. Destroy any of them and you'll get a metal ore. But as I said before, you need Ore Converter 3 in order to use them. So it's pretty much pointless at this time to even consider getting any metal ores. Though I do get my fair share. I do some grinding, but as I said, I don't need them. I ultimately don't need them because I keep my stock of repair kits rather much at maximum, so it's nothing to really worry about. As for what the 8 shots, yeah, with the heavy ores, you can use those so long as you have converter 2. Whatever your strongest 8 shot is for the hull is what you'll get. So like if I only had converter 2 with the heavy ores, and I only had 8 shot 1 available to me, I would only get units of 8 shot 1 per every 2 heavy ores, if my memory serves correctly. Once I have the ability to use 8 shot 2 and 8 shot 3, the heavy ores then can be converted into those respective levels. Oh, looks like somebody doesn't want me to go to Dry Canyon. So we're just gonna speed our way into there. There we go. Now, the person that we're talking with here, yeah, this man, we're going to be seeing him again once we get to part 7. You'll understand why when the time comes. But right now, we can't really do much. And he says that the sun rays are blinding. That's to be expected. There's another fountain. It's very likely that Dry Canyon is the Venus. Yeah, it's either the Venus or the Mercury of Sirius. Because, you know, of course, Venus is very close to the sun, and without climate control, everybody that lives on that planet would perish. Hey, we ran into Max Todd again. But yeah, I guess Dry Canyon's kind of a similar situation. The only difference, though, is very likely Dry Canyon is tamed enough that it doesn't need climate control. In fact, the only climate control that's probably present here is likely inside the building. So whenever you go into any building, that's probably the only scenario, but either way. So Brian is trying to get some more information about the White Wolves here. So, yeah, unfortunately Max Todd doesn't have much to really say because he's in a bit of a hurry. He's heading over to Planet Kai, so we have to talk with Gabby Todd. But we're not going to talk to Gabby Todd just yet, because I actually did some sequence breaking when I first played the game, and it actually did make a bit more of a convenience. So what I did was deal with what I have to with the other planets, open up the black... Yeah, get the black market once I talk to Gabby. And the rest kind of speak for itself. You know, just have all the upgrades necessary. That saves you some time so that you don't have to do any wild goose chasing. So yeah, all the Meisters around here are starting to know who Brian is. So, yep, we're gonna get another upgrade. 8,000. 8,000's reasonable, at least for this time. So now we have the Photon Engine, which I think was accidentally called the Proton Engine elsewhere. You can now use Beam Booster 3, 8 Shot 1, Analyzer 2, and or Converter 3. So if you have Converter 3, then you'll be able to convert the metal ores. You can convert, you can convert heavy ores right now, but we need to head back to the solar system if we want to be able to use Converter 3. More on that later on in the part. Because literally, I think the entire second half of this entire part is going to be that. So, more on that later. But now that we have Radar 2, we can finally see more of the Sirius system on the map. And that will make transportation that much easier. See? Yeah, we have a much wider range. So yep, got the Photon Engine. And we are hightailing it over to Colony 3. There is a black market in Colony 3 that you can basically... where, as I've mentioned in prior parts, you can get items for cheap. Especially, what is it? Yeah, Homing Missile 1 and 2. So you'll see me constantly go here as opposed to any other store in order to save on money. And also, since it is a colony, you know, it's got a lot of asteroids nearby, so if you want to get some metal ores here, you can. So, welcome to Lady Burnish. Yes, that is the bartender that you'll be talking to once you have the once you have the ability to access the you need to talk to him to be able to access the black market. And this is the dude that actually runs the black market here, or at least guards it. But we can't really do much right now, so we have to go on to our main course of we have to go to our main destination for now. So, let's, No, we're not headed to Margarita. We do have to head to Margarita eventually, but just not right now. Man, that photon engine really does make a difference. You see how fast the X and Y numbers are moving? What is actually quite surprising, too, is that whenever you do an engine upgrade, in the original Star Cruiser, your speed, I don't think it was indicated by a number. In the Sharp X68000 port, it is indicated by a number, but it does not go above 60. Star Cruiser MD made the mistake of giving you a higher number, which ultimately does cause for a mean of problem. The best way for me to put it is this. Would you really want to have a ship that can pilot at literally 120 or 150 in space, as opposed to it just being capped at 60? Because especially for boss fights, it's pointless. It is very pointless to have it be any number higher than 60. Because 60 is good enough. The unfortunate thing, though, is if you do need to go slower, you will have a bit of a speed handicap, because now every individual unit of speed per hour or whatever, however it's measured, is not measured properly. So you're going slightly faster regardless. Like even when you head off and go to a different planet, that 10 is important, because with every individual engine you just get faster and faster. So for speedrunners, at least on the boss forefront, there might be a better way to handle this, but for casual players, this is not something you have to worry about. Just to clarify. I noticed I dropped a bar of battery since I've started this. Well, this is a 75-minute part, so I think I'll be fine. But I'll have to keep a good eye on the battery power. Either way, welcome to Metal Dune. Once you arrive here, it is already flooded with enemies, so I hope that you, in order to deal with these guesties, that you upgraded your engine and that you made sure that you had some better resources. Because, my goodness, you will need it. Metal Dune is a very relentless planet. And I say that on plentiful fronts. This is not an area where you need to, where you must dilly-dally. You have to really be familiar with the area. And at the same time, it is a labyrinth. This is a labyrinth of a location. I honestly do despise this area for its level of difficulty. But the fortunate thing is, Homing Missile 1 is frequently available here. It is your friend. So that won't be too much of a problem. And what is this? And oh, almost accidentally used the decoy flare. What is this enemy? Rigolo! Oh, come on. It couldn't be Rigolo? Nah, I don't see this machine getting any booty anytime soon. Speaking of booty, we're about to get some good booty while we're here. The booty, of course, being that we can refill our tank and our fuel. I mean, tank and fuel. Refill our shield and fuel. Oh man. I've been doing the first 3 parts back to back. You can forgive me for the brutality that this does do on me. I mean, it's not every day that I talk over. This is what, like, I want to say 265 minutes worth of material, about roughly 265 to 270 minutes. You know, that's a little longer than a typical episode of Royameadow Live from 2016. And, you know, I'm not usually used to marathoning. Oh, hi, X-Bruno. I'm not usually used to marathoning a lot of big parts like this. Like, for example, when I did Sonic Hacking Contest 13 done quick, that was... Oh, hi, yeah, Cornelia, too. Oh, yeah, that's right, the original Cornelia was the red and white one. But yeah, when I did Sonic Hacking Contest 13 done quick back in 2016, the reason why that was so easy for me to do was because I wasn't doing such big parts. Yes, there were a lot of runs that were that were of decent length, but none were extremely brutal on my voice. And, you know, not even this is brutal on my voice. But if I were to marathon all 8 parts back to back, I know for a fact that I wouldn't be okay at the end of it. So that's why I spaced out. That's why I spaced out SHC 13 done quick across a multitude of days. And why I'm kind of doing the same thing here. So, I think once we're done with either this part, once we're done with part 3, I'll take a bit of a break, and then I'll come back again and do part 4, and then the rest will speak for itself. Yep, before you go to that next section, please make sure that you restock on your missiles. And also, repair your shield. Oh, hey, a female merchant for once. Ultimately, however, you're just better off refilling your energy. Yeah, refilling your shield using the tank and refilling your energy. Don't ever go to the shield repair, especially if money is not an obstacle. You're just wasting time. Especially if you're doing a speed run. You're just better off repairing your shield. Unless if the demand so needs otherwise. Now, you have to be careful. Once you go through this door, if you go back out... Oh, making a save state. I was wondering what was going on here. But yeah, I'm just making a save state. I'm doing it for all of them, right? Because I made 4 separate files just in case anything bad happened. So yeah. But yeah, once you go through this door, if you go back out at any point, the enemies will respawn. So play your cards wisely. The fortunate thing, however, is I'm familiar with where I have to go, so I don't have to worry too much. So, now you notice that when you use the wall sensor, 500 units of energy are used up. This is down from the 1,000 that is used in Star Cruiser MD. And it's weird how a 1990 retelling of the game would make using the wall sensor a little harder. Maybe it's just because of the fact that you get that item near the end of the game anyway, and it's done in a way in which you, for the most part, Yeah, for the most part, you gain that item at the very end. So, and plus, since you have max energy at that point, in this case 60,000, you can't get 99,999 like in Tails Adventure. I was about to say Miles Adventure. Oh, that'd be something. But yeah, in Tails Adventure, you can go up to 99 for your energy after the 60 energy spec. But nope, not here. Not here. 60,000 is the highest you can get. So they expect that if you're going to use the wall center, you'll use it wisely. The fortunate thing, however, is that at least Star Cruiser MD is a bit more open about where its invisible walls are. It's a bit more obvious by comparison to how the original Star Cruiser did it and how the Sharp X68000 port did it. So, you know, I can't be too unforgiving with the way the Star Cruiser MD handled itself when the game was made by Messiah in late 89, early 90. Right, now once you're here, now I didn't have to enable the wall center, but yeah, I have to go all the way around again. I have to go into there, and then through here, and this is what you end up having to deal with. A meltdown of the nuclear fusion reactor has been set by Void. This place is about to blow. So, what do you have to do? You have to find the people that can deal with the nuclear reactor within 1,000 counts. That's why I stocked up on my Homing Missile 2, or at least saved it for this section, because I knew that I would mess up. I also made a save state before going into this section. So you're gonna see me reload the save state twice. The reason why I forgot to... I ultimately forgot to edit this during the raw, because I kind of rushed the raw while I was doing the editing for it. So as a result... Yeah, and... Oh, there we go. Just messed up. I just messed up. I done goofed. I'm boned. That's it. That's it. I can't... I have it... Ugh. Yep, and I have no way back. I would have to kill more enemies, and I just don't have the time to do that. So, like, here I am thinking that that the wall I'm looking for is here. It's over there. So, load the save state, please. And I think I do it one more time just to make sure I get it right. But either way. Either way. That was just... It's mishaps such as that make me have a bit of a distaste for this game at times, but that's just to be expected. And yeah, I reloaded the save state again because I used up way too much missile. You can't run out of your weapon here now. You cannot run out of your weapon. Alright, that's a more respectable number. So long as I have closer to 40 by the time I get to this section here, everything's all honky-dory if I have to deal with any extra enemies. So, yeah, now we have to look for the hostages proper. So, enabling the wall center, the wall that you're looking for, it's right over there. There we go. Unlock the gate here. And now what you have to do, you have to go all the way around. So, deal with the enemies here. Make as much of a... Yeah, do as fast of a rotary as you can to get back to the warp... Yeah, to get back to the warp seat... warp pad that you were at. This one here. Then go through that one. And then you'll be able to save the people. There you go. Hard task handled. So the timer's no longer going on. And the rest will just speak for itself. But the interesting thing is, why did it, is like, like they couldn't have unique designs for certain characters, because, you know, the older one, I mean, this is General Arceus's design. And there are a few other key characters that look like him too. I guess they're all cousins. Yeah, that wouldn't be so far-fetched. I mean, I found out a lot of the friends that I grew up here in Lynn, Massachusetts are cousins of me as well. That was not something I was anticipating to find out, but I knew it was a possibility. Thanks, Ancestry. Honestly, though, it is something that I am happy that I was able to discuss in an open forum. They deserve to know. I wouldn't let them go through their lives not knowing such information. That's important. That's important stuff. Either way, now we got a call from Joshua Ackroyd. 5,000. Hey, that's fine. Though I'm sure that in Star Cruiser Easy type it would be much higher. Because again, you need all the money that you can get your hand on here. Now, Joshua Ackroyd is probably starting up some trouble. He apparently found out that a person by the name of DG has been wreaking havoc with Federal Patrol. And Ackroyd believes that it's Diana Gaddis that is doing this. You'll find out who did this, but not now. Now, also what Ackroyd mentioned too, all of his forces, when he went to Sirius, got wiped out, likely by the ancient weapon that Void was using. We don't know in what capacity that we have to worry about them, but yeah, I actually forget to visit the wreckage, I think, on my first run of this area, so I don't do that until later on down the road. And I have officially run out of oh, I still have one homing missile too. I still have one homing missile too to get out of here. So yeah, our work on Middle Dune here is done. We have no reason to ever return here. The only reason why you would return here is just for free money. But by the point that you reach Barnard, there will be much more convenient ways of getting money, so again, no need to return. So where are we headed now? Margarita. I don't think I need any. What was I hit by? I was probably hit by an extra shot. That's fine. That's fine. Now you might see that there's also a dot being traced with with my ship in auto motion, autopilot. That's just the homing missile 2 following me. Eventually, it starts going down its own course while Brian starts going a little bit more diagonally. There's not much to see here, but once you are here, you can talk with Masashi Clark, and he'll give you some more information as to what you need to do next. Now, the one interesting thing, however, is he asks for $1,500. I mean, credits. Brian thinks it's just better to give him 1,000. I have never actually gotten to this point and I've never actually gotten to this point and said no. So I don't know what happens if you select no at this very moment. I'll probably do that sometime well after this commentary is over. But still. I like how Brian says that I think 1,000 will refresh your memory a bit. But the funny thing about this, though, The funny thing about that scenario is that Brian's filthy stinking rich right now. He has the money to blow. Why not just give him the $1,500 in full? And there's the information that you get about the black market. But as I said, you have to go to Gabby Todd first in order to go to the black market. So I think that's our next destination, if my memory serves correctly. It's either that, or we're about to go to areas where we cannot go. By the way, if you're curious as to if I'm listening to the audio or not, I decided to finally equip my earphones. I forget which model from Samsung this is. You know, it's the one that kind of looks like an Insta Shield, or maybe even a Screw Attack. Screw Attack. Okay, by this point, very likely the SGB Screw Attack sound is played. Force a habit! I can't get enough of the Screw Attack! Screw Attack. Okay. So... Oh, I'm heading for the solar system, aren't I? I'm heading straight for the gravity catapult. Okay. I think this is where I go back to the solar system, not just to, yeah, I think this is where I will go and get my Gravity Gun 3 and Converter 3. Now, the method that I am using is the only way to get Gravity Gun 3 to my knowledge. It is also the only way to get it's the only way to get Converter 3 for 30,000 credits. Everywhere else you're going to spend 35,000 or more. So this is my best way of saying, get it early, but this is the earliest that you can do it in a reasonable manner. And you'll understand why. So... Oh. Wait. Oh, no. We're heading back to Rigel Kent. Oh, no. Alright, I think I know what's happening here. No, we're heading back to Rigel Kent to handle some plot, but I know that we head back to the solar system eventually. And I know it's during this part. And if it's not this part, then it's definitely part 4. So, yep. Refill on your energy and... Oh yeah, that's right. I needed to stock up on homing missile 2. I forgot. I ducking forgot because homing missile 2 is not available in the solar system. It's like no matter where you go, you're not gonna get homing missile 2 in the solar system. Oh, there's the damage that I was talking about, and it's all because I accidentally hit the ring. Ugh, man. It's actually very unpredictable, so getting hit there was of no surprise. So that's why I say hang a little low. Hang a little low if you're gonna go over to Slender. You can't see me right now, but I'm bobbing my head. Rigel Kent's track is actually pretty good. This is, again, it's one of the better tracks that this game has to offer. And if you ever listen to it when combined with all the other variants of the track, oh, it is a beautiful mashup. But there is another problem with Star Cruiser's soundtrack. And I don't think this was intentional on the part of Toshiya Yamanaka. Yeah, on the part of Yamanaka. Because of the way that certain versions of the track were programmed, these particular computers, even on their maximum frequency, PC 8800, 9800, Sharp X1 Turbo, and Sharp X68000, they actually do have a tempo inconsistency. And that is ultimately due to the nature of the hardware. That is impossible to fix without having to remake the tracks from scratch. In this case, put all the tracks in a mid-eye, some kind of mid-eye player, and then just plaster the relevant Yamaha sound chip, the relevant Yamaha sound chips for each variant of the track. There is no better way to handle that, sadly. And that's just an unavoidable situation. So I know for a fact that if we were to completely recreate all these tracks from the ground up, it won't be an easy task. Some tracks don't suffer from this desync, while others ultimately will. Especially anything from the Sharp X68000 lineup, except for Rigel Kent, Sirius, and certain others. But that, however, is assuming that you are using the OST version and not straight directly from the hardware. This is especially true with the track Red Zone, which is notorious, regardless of the frequency, for having tempo inconsistency. Be it at 10 MHz, 25, or 100, there is just no avoiding the desync. So I had to do extensive editing in Virtual DJ, and in some cases Audacity, just to get it sounding right. Hey, 777! It's shifting between 777 and 776. Speaking of which, I don't know if anybody in the greater Boston region, or anybody that just watches CBS 4 News Boston, I refuse to call it WBZ, just to clarify. I only ever call it CBS 4 because that's how I grew up with it, despite having been exposed to, yes, the WBZ4 variant from 2000. Now, with that lovely, it has some very lovely pre-rendered graphics and a lovely fanfare to it. My throat is tired. I can't do this right now. Okay, now we're headed to the solar system. But yeah, on CBS 4 Boston News, if you ever take a look at the heads-up display, like above the CBS 4 logo, you see the time and you see the temperature. Sometimes when their computer's messing up, the temperature will be jumping between ridiculous numbers. One time I even remember when it was jumping between 32 and something in the 80s, probably 32 and 84. In recent time, a recent broadcast in the past 2 weeks had it constantly going between 82 and 80 every few seconds. Now, the temperature that they're showing is not the temperature that's being recorded on the ground or that's being recorded at Logan Airport. No, the temperature that shows for CBS 4 News, I don't know if you guys remember, like about, I want to say 5 to 15 years ago, there would be occasions where the reporters would be hanging out on the CBS 4 sky deck. There used to be a sky deck that they would use, and the satellite that picks up the temperatures from there, or thermometer, I'm not exactly sure if it's a satellite or a thermometer, it might be a mixture of both. That's where it would pick up the main temperature, and that's the temperature that you would see on screen. Now, wait, hold up, why am I coming back here? Oh, right, because you need all the fuel you can get your hands on. Oh, yes, this is a very important thing. So, let's go back. Because we are about to go to the outer portions of the solar system. So where are we headed to? Station 4. Well, at first, anyway. The first area we have to go is Station 4, because that's the closest area, at least at that section. Oh, got some ores here, got some deuter ores if you want to rack up. They seem to be wherever the asteroid belt is over by Jupiter. So don't be surprised. So Station 4 is the beginning of when you have to, it's the closest station you can get to before having to go to Uranus. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this. No, I haven't. The theme here, which is called Mars, does it sound a little familiar to you? The closest version of this track that you'll hear anywhere else outside of Star Cruiser, Starlight Carnival. That's right, Sonic Adventure 6 Vivid Sound Hybrid Colors has this track. It's a flat-out remix, but and the notes are obviously different. But man, does it sound so much better over here. Don't get me wrong, I love Starlight Carnival, but something just feels right about its FM glory. OPM was a very great template for Yamaha's FM sound, which actually kind of makes me wonder if a good amount of this music can be properly replicated in the GEMS driver. Now, the reason why I go for the GEMS driver and not the custom driver that Messiah used, that probably was pre-SMPS for all I know, or maybe early SMPS for Star Cruiser MD. But there's just a lot of sounds that I know can be replicated easily in the GEMS driver, because from what I'm aware of, like, especially if you play RBI Baseball 94 and 95, a lot of the sounds that make up its OST are much more familiar to what you would have heard from a YM2151 as opposed to a 2612. And that does ultimately matter. That's part of why I was kind of contemplating the usage of GEMS for original music, at least original FM music that wasn't YM2151 or YM21280 based. Because I do feel that GEMS driver 2612, it does have its benefits. Has its benefits, and it has a very lovely sound. Now, the music that you're hearing here on Uranus, and why we were just, going on a constant, constant automatic shift. Not exactly sure what the proper term would be there. That's the exact template that you'll be experiencing once you go to the planet of Old New York in the Barnard system. Same theme too. So, to my knowledge, there is nothing important for you to get on Uranus. It's just a pit stop for you, just if you need to make a save, and so you can come here. Welcome to this is the Comet Station, correct? Comet Nuclear Station, yep. We already have all the decoy flares and Converter 1. We're looking for Converter 3. Alright. So, now if our energy refill... Well, no, our energy's not refilled. Oh, I thought that there was an invisible wall here. I think that's why I did that. Either way. So, yeah, just refill your energy here. I think you have another chance to refill on Neptune. And also if you need to repair your ship. But after that, it's straight up on to Pluto. So, what we're about to do, we're about to head to Neptune. Because you do need to head to Neptune just in case if anything happens. It's the closest planet towards anything in that region of the solar system. And Pluto is very far north. So be glad that I'm doing this on Radar 2 and not Radar 1, because I don't think I'd be able to really catch the, I don't think I'd be able to catch the information catch the coordinates. And also be glad that I'm on the photon engine, because, man, do you need it. But I am curious, though. Why are trees that are native to Titan existent here on Neptune and also on Uranus? It's the most unfitting thing. It doesn't feel right. why would a tree native to a moon on Saturn be on a planet far out? I'm assuming that Triton is one of Neptune's moons. You know what? Let me check that. Oh, part of mythology. Part of mythology, Greek mythology, and it is also a moon native to Neptune. Okay. Oh, so we're not going onto the planet, we're going to the moon. Discovered on October 10 of 1846. Well, I guess that's some good trivia to know. Ah, William Lassell. Haven't heard of his name in a long time. How long did he live for? 81. Good man. June 18 of 1799 to October 5 of 1880. He also discovered the moons, he also discovered Hyperion, Ariel, and Umbriel. And I hear the music, so that means that we are on Pluto. Now, Pluto is debatably one of the most difficult planets to deal with, and for many good reasons. The Lesdarios here have extremely high health, and every shot that you take, I think, does 4 in damage. These ones pack a punch and don't have the same AI as last time. So you make sure that you kill them with as many homing missile 1 as possible. But also be careful of which Lesdarios you destroy, because you need all of your energy to get back home. As I said, it doesn't really matter which ones you destroy, just so long as you destroy the key ones that are important. If memory serves correctly, you only need to destroy 6 or 7 of them. And I'm already out of my homing missile 1, so I'm just going to finish off this fight with a quantum gun. Yeah, already out of shield. And, okay, so do not go to the right. There's an invisible wall here where you can deal with these guys. Now, you notice I'm trying my best to save my homing missile 2 for the last 3. Again, this is crucial because you really don't have a lot of energy to blow once you get here. I think the reason for this too is ultimately because I don't think they expect you to fight these things with I don't expect. It probably was not anticipated for you to fight them this early on. You were probably intended to fight them well after you got Gravity Gun 2 and ended up getting the Gravity Engine on Barnard. But, you know me, I like to make sure that I get certain things early. Especially if they are key or all-powerful items that can really help you early on in the game. But this is just so that I could save time, because returning here, the only reason why I ever would have to return to the solar system is just so I could grind on deuter ores. Other than that, I have no serious reason to be here. And now that we've gotten to the lower floor, now we can, this isn't even the lower floor. It's the same floor, but it's just another part. So now we can deal with these last ones. And fortunately they go down with the quickness, so W's a W, one way or another. Even if it's a hard W, it's a good W. Oh, looks like I've ran out of weapon. Time to finish up with a quantum gun barrage. And well, the rest speak for itself. How many times have I said that this commentary? The rest speak for itself. Well, in some ways it kind of does. Some things are just self-explanatory. But yeah, if you have 80,000 credits, you can get Gravity Gun 3 and Converter 3. Cheapest area to get Converter 3, and man, does it make a difference. So I don't need to get Converter 2, even though I think I do at some point. Yep, can't use Gravity Gun 3 right now, so Yep, so go through the invisible wall, head back just the way you came. Do not touch any other enemies. You're done here. You're completely done here. We can head back to where we need to go. Yeah, we can repair it. Do we want to repair the shield? Well, technically we could repair the shield because it won't do that much damage to us, but it's just safer to go and autopilot. Wow, we ended up in the thousands in the X coordinate. Well, then again, we will be doing something similar once we go to Barnard, but more on that when the time comes. You know what? All the Star System tracks sound decent. But again, Sirius is the one that stands out the most to me. Even though the one I've heard the most is the Solar System, the regular Solar System, Sirius just has the most beautiful variant of it's just the most beautiful track. No two ways about it. You know, it just hit me. Normally when I would be talking over a commentary like this, especially one of this length, there would be something on screen. Like, cause you know, I still have my Durabrand brand analog TV here. But unfortunately, my digital stream converter box died out in 2016. And like in the dead middle of 2016. So, you know, I can't even use this. Can't even pick up digital channels. So, yeah, I'm kind of stuck here. Kind of stuck without any TV that's usable in my room for regular watching. I still have my old LG TV here from 2006, but a color fuse blew out in it, so like half the color layering on the main projection, it's inverted. So when you see it, it looks like a putrid mess. Not even something that Vaporwave could really accept, but technically this would be considered a Vaporwave quote-unquote mode, because like if you leave something on screen for too long with that LG, with the LG TV, it'll just leave the image etched in there for a little bit. You probably could fix it, but there's no point. You could fix the fuse, but there's no point. It only supports up to 1080i, doesn't support 1080p. And, you know, since there are 8K televisions out at this time that are much more resourceful, I think it's just probably better if I were to take that route. So yeah, I'll upgrade to a new television set when I can, but I do intend to get another converter box because we will be still doing stuff for analog television in my region. Because, don't get me wrong, a lot of people have switched over to digital, but a lot of them are still using converter boxes, so as a result, they are still technically heavily reliant on analog. So, you know, the fact that I can still have programming in standard definition somewhere in the city, that at least is a good safety net just in case we ever lose our digital signal. Some people don't know how essential it is to have analog at this time, but to have a mixture of both plus a hybrid, it's kind of nice. And I could kind of say the same about storage. Though I think talking about disk storage is a bit of a mixed bag for me, because I'm not a fan of solid state drives. Don't get me wrong. I do believe that at some point it will be mandatory for me to always have a solid state drive in my desktop. It will eventually have to become my boot drive, and it will eventually be the drive that I'll be using for video rendering. But I still primarily work with hard disk drives, mostly because I know the hard disk drives are much more, in my view, they're much more durable, and I feel that they save storage better. The older solid-state drives, however, have been known to have issues, like if you don't use them for a certain amount of time, they'll die out, or if or over time their performance will drop because of the technology that was made in them. But very likely, the complaints that I'm talking about are probably from the mid-2000s when solid-state drives really started up. I don't think that that's the same issues that I'm talking about are as frequent nowadays, but I still wouldn't fully take a chance with a solid-state drive if I know that hard disk drives are still an option. And yes, while HDDs are slowly, becoming non-existent, where some companies are starting to stop making them outright. The fortunate thing, however, is that even with the rise of SSDs, the market for hard drives has only been increasing. Like heck, in the past month or so, Seagate just came out with their 16 terabyte Iron Wolf hard drives, which I also, if my memory serves correctly, also goes same thing for their Barracuda and Skyhawk sets. Now, for those of you that are curious about what Barracuda, Skyhawk, and Iron Wolf all stand for, Barracuda drives are optimized for they're optimized for 24/7 use and also for high compute tasks. Skyhawk is intended for surveillance systems and at the same time also intended for broadcasting. It's basically Iron Wolf, but without the durability and ability to handle extreme temperatures or climates that Iron Wolf can. Iron Wolf, however, is intended for data servers. But the durability is what I would be paying for. That's why I would get such a high denomination hard drive from them for all of my old desktops once I turn them into sleepers. Now, this is Riken. What I'm about to show off here is something that's important because here I am opening up the open up the gate, and I'm about to head to the house where the old man is. Oh, hi, Fountain. You do have to visit this man, but if you were to enter this house at any other point, especially after going to the Barnard system, you will get the bus error, and I'll be showing off that. There is a method to fix this, but I will discuss it once we get to part 7. Let's see. Oh, we still got 18 minutes to go. Let's see. 18... I'm trying to think here. Oh, I'll be done at 9:57 p.m. Okay. So we're about to we're about to arrive at another planet, and this time it's going to be Bermuda. Now, Bermuda is possibly the one planet that I find hilarious, because hilarious and at the same time disturbing, which is part of the reason why I called the name of this part Maximum Security. Wait, wasn't Maximum Security the name of a horse in the 2018? Yeah, right. Planet Bermuda is a maximum security prison. Landing here requires proper credentials and permission from the ground control tower. Now, the reason why this is so important is because of this. There are only prisoners here. You likely don't want to be here. If you try to make a landing without permission, we'll gladly accept you for 3 years of forced labor. No thanks. I think I'd better find some other place to land. Not even a few seconds facing in front of Bermuda, and they're already threatening you prison time. An entire planet dedicated to prison would happily have you for 3 years of forced labor, forced hard labor, if you don't have the proper credentials. So if you're not visiting for some reason, like if you're not visiting a prisoner, or if you're not going there for work, you're going there to serve an unnecessary sentence. But when you think of it, it kind of reminds. So in this is a situation where Bermuda's kind of the place you don't want to go. that's actually kind of like an inside joke to the actual Bermuda Triangle, where like if you were in that area, you know, it's an area that you kind of don't want to be in if you're trapped in a storm because you can't escape. But, you know, at the same time, scenarios such as that actually kind of remind me of, well, you know, certain areas on Earth. Because, you know, there are certain countries where if you pass border lines, they will happily imprison you just for crossing their border. Or if you're in an area where a literal city can be an entire prison. You know, it's a similar situation. Let's be glad that something such as that here in the United States would be rendered as cruel and unusual punishment. But unfortunately, when it comes to intergalactic life, sometimes some things just can't be explained. Either way, time to head to Gabby Todd's house. But there is actually something that we do need to do here. So, yeah, let's stock up on some Auto Bullet 2. Oh, I could have gotten Booster 3 long ago. Oh my goodness. I don't know why I held off until then to get it. But either way. So there is an invisible wall here. But first, do I make a save state here? Yeah, I think so. I think I just made a save state. So, welcome to Mayfly. Really? Does Brian have to make it that obvious? You actually need permission from Gabby Todd in order to talk about the black market, so... yeah, but her house is blocked off by a gate. So where do you go to that gate? You have to go here. Right there. And we have a Dr. Mario pill. We have to kill Dr. Mario pills just to make it here. And you saw that flicker? That flicker Capitulon. It's either Capitulon or Capitulon. Either way, it's just a ducking Dr. Mario pill. And they actually do take up a good amount of the processor. Ugh. Yep, this is where your homing missile 2 comes in handy. But either way, so yeah, you have to go here in order to get the gate. Yeah, in order to unlock the gate. And these enemies can be a bit relentless, especially because of the fact that you have to fight them twice. Not just what you're seeing here. Because here I am, making the mistake of using homing missile 2 early on, only to ultimately forget that I don't have the relevant resources to attack them again once they respawn, because I have to take on everybody once more. And that is a shame. That's why I'm using Gravity Gun 1 here. But I think Quantum Gun, since I got Booster 3 now, it probably won't be nearly as bad. But yeah, but Gravity Gun 1 would be the essential weapon here if you didn't have Booster 3. Please keep in mind that the boosters... oh, unavoidable damage. Almost forgot about that. But yeah, please keep in mind that Booster 3 does not... none of the boosters work on... what is it? They don't work on the gravity guns. They only work on the atom and quantum guns, respectively. But if you're still using the atom gun by this point, it's probably just recommended that you upgrade, because there really is no point. There is no point to their use. Yeah. By this point, you're just gonna exhaust your energy if you just use the atom gun. The fortunate thing, by the way, is I'm at least glad that I stocked up on on Homing Missile 1, because it really does seem to deal with these enemies rather decently. And it is kind of concerning that later areas do not give you the ability to purchase Homing Missile 1. They only give you the ability to purchase Homing Missile 2 and 3 on Barnard, and that can make things rather painful, especially in a place such as Gargantua, where you're constantly having to go and restock on missiles. Yes, you could just do everything with Gravity Gun 3, but that wouldn't be fun because you'd still be running out of fuel fast. The method that I am using here is technically considered by me as an aggressor strat, but at the same time, there's just so much you can do with an aggressor strat that eventually you do also need to figure out a way that is also energy efficient. That's why I stock up on the missiles as much as I do, because if I didn't, I probably would be getting more game overs than anything else in this game. Speaking of which, this ship's energy is low. Will Brian make it out in time? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. No, it's not today, brothers. Not today, brothers and sisters. It's happening now. We're done. Enemies have respawned, but doesn't matter. We're out of there. Barely so. Hey, that 3757 was well earned. Oh, I saw 156. 156 was the bus route that I had taken when I was in grade 5, when I was going to Edward W. Brooke Charter School. EWBCS was rather brutal back then. Wishfully, it's better than it was. Yeah, wishfully it's better now than it was then, but still. Yeah, the 2005-2006 season was not a healthy one for many people, especially when it came to academics. Which is why I'm glad that public schools are getting more support nowadays, as opposed to, charter schools. And also I'm kind of glad that the charter school ballot question didn't pass in, what was it? Was it 2016? 17? Probably 17 if my memory serves correctly. Because, our public schools definitely do need a massive overhaul. Not just in terms of infrastructure and resources, but also in terms of just straight up how justice is handled. No two ways about it. And so here's Gabby Todd saying which items you need. Yep, see, thanks to the sequence break. See, Brian then says that, yeah, I've got everything we've got everything that we need, so nothing to worry about. Now, I like how it says princess, and you have a whole bunch of names there. You got Atsuko, Kaori, Tomoko, Kanako, and Kionko. Or is it Kionko? And I guess it's language dependent. I don't know if that actually involves some of the staff. That might be an inside reference to some of the staff at Arceus. What's very interesting about this particular title, too, is, and you're going to see this once we get to the credits, there are no staff credits. Yeah, that's right. When we get to the ending, there are no staff credits. That feels so weird. It feels so weird to just get to the end of a game saying what happens at the end, and then boom, you get the end. I mean, I at least want to know who made the game. It's not like there's even like a credits roll at the beginning of the game. There's none of that. You want to know who made the game? You gotta check the instruction manual. You gotta check through notes. I didn't go far enough. Okay, so now we have to go to Colony 3. Now we can finally get the items from the black market. And this is where we're going to end the part. We're going to end the part after we get the items from the black market. Is that ship going to... I mean, is that ship? I honestly didn't know if the missile would hit me. So, let's see. It's 9:51 now. So, what, yeah, 9:51, 10, 11, 12. Yep, so I'll be done with this part at 9:57:42. Oh my goodness, 9:57:42. 57 because, you know, if you've seen my hand, if you've seen my palm on the right hand or on the left hand, I have a literal 7. It's the simian line. I discussed it in the 2018 year in review during Royameadow Talk episode 7. If you haven't watched it, watch that part. Yeah, watch that particular program. You'll understand more. I have a timestamp in the description for that particular episode too. So just go a little back on the channel. You'll see what I'm talking about. And of course, 42 being the meaning of life. I associate myself with the number 42, a massive lot, because the first house that I've, you know, spent over 11 years in, it had 42. If I'm ever back in the Mattapan region of Boston, I'll probably show it off sometime. Probably just like as a video log. It's definitely something that I needed to do a long time ago. But so here we have some enemies. These are Lasternas. Lasterna is the primary guard. These are the guards for the black market. And, you know, it's a black market, so it's expected there would be, you know, a good amount of security here. Another reason why I named this part Maximum Security. So yeah, you just gotta make sure that they all get destroyed. It's to be expected. You know, when you enter something such as a black market, this is supposed to be expected. You can also get the nuke shield for cheaper here too if you haven't gotten it yet. But at this point, there really is no reason. Why are you still selling the atom gun? You would think that a lot of areas would be selling Gravity Gun 1 and 2 by this point, but no, they're selling a whole bunch of atom gun. Is there no oh my goodness, no. I don't want to have to kill a whole bunch of Dr. Mario pills. But fortunately, they go down rather quickly, so, hey, no pressure. No pressure. Just so long as they go down with the quickness, I don't have a problem. And you know something? I think it's actually the data for this background that also determines why the Dr. Mario pills are no longer a threat in terms of frequency. Because you notice that the fights are much smoother now. But then again, 25 megahertz can be a little unpredictable at times, even in a title such as this. Which is part of the reason why some people will overclock their 68030 chip to be 33 megahertz to assure stability in even some of the most graphically intensive fights. But just to clarify, there's only one time that I will ever change the frequency, and that will be in part 8, but very briefly. But that's just to make sure that the cutscene for Void syncs up with itself. More on that later. Dead end. And here's another interesting enemy. This enemy here, this is Walking Legs. There are 3 variants of Walking Legs. You have Walking Legs -1, and Walking Legs 2. Also, if you're low on money, you can come back. Yeah, you can come to here and you can sell your deuter, metal, and heavy ores for a hefty premium. It's actually pretty useful too, considering the fact that you really can rack up a lot of money here for just for your asteroid ores alone, especially the heavy ores. I would recommend that if you're in the Barnard system and you need to rack up on heavy ores, this is probably the best time to do so. I mean, this is the best area to use your heavy ores if you don't intend to use them on Void, especially if you've still yet to get Gravity Gun 3 and Converter 3 by the time you reach the end of the game. And here's where you can get Auto Bullet 2 for the cheapest price in the entire universe. 50 credits. You know, I do feel that at some point we will eventually see an entire existence where we will be using a universal currency and it'll be called the credit. But I do also believe that, like what happened with Star Cruiser MD, artificial duplication will become so important. Artificial duplication will become a common practice that by the time that practice happens, money will no longer be relevant. And the reason for that, I mean, if you're just able to duplicate money, for example, then what's the point, right? There's no point in duplicating. There would be no point in getting anything from a shop for a premium, because if you could just keep copying money left and right, even if they were to be digitally generated with unique codes, you get where this is going. There would simply be no reason for us to have an economy anymore. The only way that we would actually go back to the old age where money didn't exist. If we wanted to have decent compromises, we would have legislation and we would be just trading goods. We would not need money. And ultimately, that's where I see existence going. But we can talk about that at a better time, probably even in the comments if you want. But for now, we're at the end of the part. We're at the end of the part. I'm about to watch the next episode of Blood and Treasure. It's July 23. So I'll be back. I'll be back for part 4. Whenever that is. But hey, it might even be later tonight after the Cleveland show, but who knows. Either way, got another music video for you, and this time it is Toshiya Yamanaka versus Ali and Gip. The name of the song, Sirius Booty.